Good morning, everyone. It's Trader Rob. Today is Wednesday, July 29th. Hopefully everybody's off to a fantastic morning. Let's get into the charts. Let's see what kind of opportunities we can have here this morning. Just want to do a really quick mic check. I'm at my place down in Florida, so obviously a lot of changes to the stream. So just want to make sure that you guys are hearing me nice, loud, and clear. If you just pop that into the chat, I'd appreciate it. Morning, Kevin. All right, well, I'm going to continue on as if everybody can hear me with no issues. If there's an issue on there, just let me know and I will... Morning, Paul. Paul, if you can hear me loud and clear, can you just type into the chat that mic sounds okay? All right, so let's take a look. We'll start off here on the NQ. We'll first start off with our key levels of the morning, and then from there we'll go on to the bands. So currently we've got a weekly high here at the 28,761. This is our weekly high from this current week. So obviously good amount of volume sitting up here as well. So if we do tap into here, this is obviously an area that you can take a trade, a reversal trade from, or a possible continuation model to the upside. Obviously, it'd be much stronger level if we had some type of unbalanced volume sitting in there. Zal, thank you so much for confirming. Paul, thanks for confirming that the sound is good. So that's our highest key level here for the morning on the NQ. Again, that's going to be sitting here at the 762. We're going to go over these weekly bands here in a second, but I'm going to continue on here. We've got prior day high, prior day open, sitting at the 28,227 and the 28,210. I took the labels off of here, but it might be easier if we just have the labels on. I'll just try doing it to have my chart a little bit cleaner. But maybe on tomorrow's live stream, I'll change this to have the values on there, so it doesn't really give us any issue to any mistakes. All right, so here's our current open, sitting at the 29,960. As you can see, this has been a pretty good line in the sand here on the NQ this morning. So current open today, obviously somewhere to definitely put attention to. As you can see, you've had a lot of accumulation in this particular area right here. So that's something to definitely note on your chart. Prior day low is currently sitting at the 27,603. So again, good amount of volume sitting down here as well, 27,603. And I believe that's the last level we have. So now we can talk about some of our trading ideas for today. So first area that I'm going to be interested in from buyers, this is a weekly level, weekly band, developing band, a lot of volume, and this is all buyer controlled as of right now, and that sits at the 27,854 to the 27,820. So again, we'll just kind of go over the different types of trade options that you can grab from this area. Number one, limit order, just resting here at the 27,854. Stop loss sitting about 3 or 4 points below this 27,820. So let's call it the 27,824. 24 would be your stop loss area. So that's trade option one, and we'll kind of map this one out here and see what this what this will look like for you. So this would be, I'm sorry, not but the 16s. And 1 to 1.5 risk to reward, right around here. Now, something that I'd like to kind of go over this morning for you on your take profits. So as you guys have seen, my typical take profit on these weekly bands is a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward on these trades. Straight limit order, resting right there, going for your target. Now, if you have, obviously, I'm hoping that if you guys are watching the show in the mornings, you've incorporated volume into your strategy, and you understand that volume is the biggest, is really the only piece of, is the only piece in the market that actually moves the markets. So I'm assuming that everybody that's watching the show has adapted volume to a certain extent. So at the very minimum, you should have a sessions volume profile. Now I have sessions done, so I have the electronic hours. So the Globex session is right here. And then at the New York Open at, well, for me, 8:30 a.m. Central Time, 9:30 Eastern Time. But at the New York Open, I have a new profile that automatically starts to plot. So I'll have the pre-session and the New York session. Now, if you have an area of confluence that's kind of sitting in between your entry and your projected take profit, meaning like in this scenario, you've got the point of control for the pre-market session sitting right here. This would be a scenario where to make a high probability trade, you can reduce this down at least to the point of control. Now, it's not a 1 to 1.5, it's a little bit, it's like 1 to 1.25. But again, it's gonna give you the highest probability of capturing a really nice trade. So again, this here would be sitting option number 1 on this particular trade. And then option 2, which is a little bit more detailed of a scalp. These worked out really nice yesterday. We my signal group in the live trading room yesterday, we captured a really nice short off of a weekly band for about 72 points. Nice little 1 to 1.5 risk to reward. So option number 2 is pretty simple. Again, this would be taking a limit order right here at the 27,843, and then having your stop sitting about 2 or 3 points below this band. So at about the 27,827, probably be a great spot here to put your stop. And that would look something like this. I'll probably move this over here just a little bit. About right there is good. And then here you can go 1 to 2. 1 to 2. Or you can target, of course, your point of control. If that's, something that you're contemplating. I'm sorry. Point of control is sitting up here. This is a developing point of control. So, well, no, actually, this is the point of control. Sorry. So I was right. This area right here at the 27,898 would be an area that you could take profit on. Now on this detailed scalp, again, very prop friendly. 1 micro, you're only risking $33 here to make $66. Typically, I would go up to 2 or 3 micros on these smaller, because of the fact that the stop loss is so tight that your risk to reward on these are going to be fantastic. Here's 1 to 2. If we target the same point of control, you're looking at a 1 to almost 3.5 risk to reward. Okay. So this here, of course, would be option number 2. Now, You can also have, like what I've been talking about on the streams, you can have option number 3, which option number 3 is a combination of both of these trade setups that we have. So it would be adding option 1 and option 2 together to create option number 3, which would be very simple. We'll stay with easy math. You take a limit order, again right here, so you would activate this trade once price action comes down and taps into this band. You get activated into a limit order. Stop loss is sitting right down here. You can then set yourself another limit order at this detailed band. And the reason why I do this is that many times price action will come, tap into this weekly band, and it's gone. And in this scenario, you don't lose out on the trade. You can capture your trade. This is the most conservative approach to trading this band. If you want to skip this option number 2, no problem, because you'll still be able to capture the rejection off of this band. Works the same way, and it gives you one position size or one position in it. Option number 2 will obviously average your entry into the middle of this top part of the weekly band. Okay, we all understand that because you'd be taking one limit order here, one limit order here. Your average position now sits right here. If you target here, now your risk to reward is going to be closer to a 1 to, well, in this scenario, probably closer to a 1 to 4, 1 to 3. So that's these options right here. And as we've got price action coming in pretty closely, we will we'll enter into that order here just so we're ready for that trade. So I got $77 of risk, $89 of take profit. And again, the take profit is a little bit less than my typical, I don't know why this is, my point of control keeps moving. Reason I'm not targeting 1 to 2 on this particular trade is because, again, we've got point of control sitting right here. All right, so let's look at the next trading option that we've got, which is another developing weekly band sitting down down below, so down under this band right here. We've got another band at the 27,800 down to the 27,755. Okay. Very similar story. Limit order at the top of this band, stop loss sitting 4 points below the band, 1 to 1.5. Risk to reward. And then we've got a smaller detailed scalping area at the 27,791 to the 27,787. Again, this is the same type of scenario here as option 1, option 2. And one thing that I forgot to mention is maybe you don't want to take option 1. Maybe you want to just take option 2, which is going to be sitting right here. Now you're setting yourself up with just a very, very detailed scalp. The only issue here is obviously you can miss the initial trade to the upside. Okay. And again, on these 1 to 1.5, 1 to 2 risk to reward trades, the math is always going to be in your favor, especially with the high win rate. The math will be in your favor. Even if you end up taking a loss, the risk to reward on these trades will always help you out, and some pretty strong price action. Let's just take a look here. Let's see if there's any news. We will be hitting Iran hard. Okay, so let's pause this trade right here. We'll take a look and see what the result of this is going to be. But you've got news headlines coming out right now. U.S. strikes will take place against Iran in response to attacks on U.S. targets in Jordan. We'll be hitting Iran hard. U.S. strikes will take place against Iran in response to attacks on U.S. targets in Jordan. As you guys have heard me ad nauseum talk about what will get you through these bands, okay, what will get you through these bands, meaning when these bands will fail, 3 different things. Okay, they're very simple things to learn, very simple concepts to understand. One, scheduled high impact news. Obviously, we have FOMC this morning. We have oil inventory report this morning. If we've got employment numbers coming out at 7:30 in the morning, which we don't today, but on a normal day we have news, or we take a look and see what the scheduled news for today is. That's why I've changed my layout here. I've got some of the high impact news that's coming out from today directly on here. In fact, I'm working on a news headline service here as well. That, like for instance, that headline that just came out with Trump, it would be scrolling here on the screen as well. It helps me trade because I've got a lot of stuff kind of going on, and my news service is in the tab, and if I'm not actively looking at it, sometimes I'll miss a big piece of headline news. So first thing that'll get you through a band that'll fail is going to be scheduled news. The second one that will fail is unscheduled headline news. This morning, a few minutes ago, was a perfect example of that, which created this huge move to the downside right here, okay? Strictly off of headlines. Now, what happens during these? Well, you say, Rob, why can't your bands hold up during those type of events? Well, if you understand volume and you understand how the market works, during unscheduled and scheduled high impact news, liquidity tends to leave the market, okay? People think that volume is entering the market. It's the complete opposite. Volume is actually leaving the market, and that is what causes these huge spikes in price action. And I am a volume-based trader, meaning that what I have identified in this band is an area of unbalanced volume. And if the market is in just a normal state, normal price action, we will tap into these bands and start to balance out that unbalanced volume that's sitting in those bands. And that's where we typically get these really strong, nice rejections back to the upside or to the downside, depending on how you're trading. So that's the reason here where I canceled out my order, my limit order on this trade. Now there's always the possibility that we can start to kind of fade back to the upside and have the liquidity and the market makers step back into the market. And then I might be looking to take this trade on a little bit later. So we've talked about this band, Now let's take a look at the sellers. Let's take a look at where the sellers are going to be at here this morning. We've got two pieces of what I've been really looking for. This is one I've been really dying to see for us to get up to. But here's where sellers finally show up on the weekly bands. And that's going to be from the 28,495 to the 28,449. Okay, 28,494, 28,449. And again, if you don't trade exactly how I trade with my strategy, no problem. Put these on your chart and see, and use these bands, these support resistance, supply demand, I call them balanced, unbalanced volume areas. Have these on your chart and use them in conjunction with whatever strategy you have that you have an edge in or that you have confidence in. Awesome. Again, I wouldn't be taking a long into this band, as this is all currently seller controlled. So same scenario here. Option number one would be strictly a limit order at the base of your band. Have your stop loss sitting 4 points above the band, and then targeting a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward, which is going to be sitting right around there. Right there. And let's bring this guy over just a bit, just like that. And as you can see, I have no key level here. Okay, I don't have any other key levels here. I don't have any other confluent pieces over here. So here I can go strictly 1 to 1.5, no problem. So again, this is going to be your option one. Option two is going to be a little more tricky, so a little bit more nuance here. This band, which is sitting at the top of our band currently right here, is a little tricky because this is the detailed area of the unbalanced volume. Okay, so volume is sitting here, sellers are sitting right here in this little area right here. Now, where is this located in conjunction to the weekly band? Well, it's sitting at the top. If this is the middle, this is going to be sitting at the top quadrant of this weekly band. Okay, personally, I prefer them to be sitting on the lower to the middle side. Okay, so I would like to be on the middle to the down, if that makes any sense. Now, the reason why I say that, because as volume is sitting right here, and if you look to the price action to your left, you're going to see a strong pivot to your left. That's going to have an impulsive move from this area. That is the strategy from on every single band that I create. Well, as we have a pivot up here, now we've got a lot of strong liquidity sitting here, right? Got a lot of stop losses that are going to be sitting up here. Now, the issue with the stop losses is that, yes, we could get a rejection back to the downside, especially here. But over here, what you might end up seeing, which happens a lot, people in my signal group already know what I'm talking about, is we come up, we tap in, we sweep, and then we go. So here, having a limit order 3 or 4 points sitting above your above this band is generally not a good idea. Okay, what I would prefer you to do for option number 2 is to wait for some type of entry confirmation that you have. For me, I use my footprint charts, very simple. I would wait for a sweep here. I would look for a red footprint candle with positive delta. If you don't use footprints, you don't use volume-based tools, no problem. I would then look for a candle rejection, okay? An engulfing pattern here to the downside, a bearish, any type of bearish candle that you can find that sweeps this area up here, when gives you some type of confirmation, go short at the close of your candle, stop loss sitting at the top, and then now do your 1 to 2, or you can do your 1 to 4 risk to reward based on whatever scenario it is that you're looking at. So I went over, I'm not going to draw option 2 here with this tool because, again, I personally would not be trading this with a limit order. And then we'll come down to the one that I am the most excited about, and this is the weekly band at the 28,985 to the 28,913. Okay, we've been talking about this one since Monday. Fortunately, price action hasn't gotten there. I can't control price action, so we'll see how this one, when this one gets tapped into. But you definitely want to be ready on this one. So we'll just draw this one out. Option number 1, limit order at the bottom of your base of your bands. Stop loss sitting about 3 or 4 points above the band. 1 to 1.5 risk to reward. Let's see, 1 to 1.5 risk to reward. Let me see if I can, let's just see if to show price. It says show price, but it's not showing me where the actual entry is at. It's not doing it. But I mean, based on knowing where the entry is at, knowing where the stop loss is, you should be able to figure out exactly where this 1 to 1.5 is going to be at. Okay. I thought that the labels would show up here, but there's got to be a setting here that I can kind of switch to get that working a little bit better. But you guys see the labels, you understand, 4 points above here is the 28,989. Entries at the 28,913. Calculate that 1 to 1.5 risk to reward. Any type of tool, risk to reward tool will get that done for you. On TradingView, same thing. TradingView's got this same tool where you can do a short position. You adjust, you figure out where that 1 to 1.5 risk to reward is. It's the same tool. Okay, so that is option 1. Option number 2 is a short from our detailed area. Stop loss sitting 3 or 4 points above the band, targeting 1 to 2. At the minimum. At the minimum. Okay, on these, it should almost be a non-negotiable. 1 to 2. On these are going to be a little bit more negotiable for you because, again, this to me would make a big difference if I am either end of day drawdown or if I'm an intraday drawdown. Okay, so depending on what prop firm you're using, hopefully you're using code Trader Rob, I appreciate that. If you're using end of day, 1 to 1.5 is going to be great. If you're in intraday trailing drawdown, you might want to target 1 to 1. Okay, because you don't want to be so nicely in profit and then for this to kind of reverse on you. You know, it's just, I think it's the prudent thing to do, but it's not financial advice. Do what you guys want to do. So here's option number 2 for you. And that's the trade plans. I mean, you've got 4 different setups that are all marked out here. All that I will trade if price... Oh, look at that. Look at that. Do I tell you? Do I tell you or do I tell you? Can I get a like on the stream for that? If that's not worthy of a like on the stream. Tapped right into your weekly bands. Took your TP out, 1 to 1.5 risk to reward. Timing kind of sucked with the news, but I'm telling you guys, I can't stress this enough. These work, and they work extremely, extremely well. Extremely well. All right, I only got a few more minutes left, so let's just look at the ES here really fast. Oh, ES tapped into our band as well. Shit. All right, ES has got a weekly band sitting at the 74.58 to the 74.38. We had a nice little detailed area here at the 74.57 to the 74.51. Dang. Tapped right into there as well. And I don't think this would have taken TP, though. I would not have taken TP here yet. Because my entry would have looked something like this. That would have been sitting right there, and 1 to 1.5. So that one's still got some room left to go on this band here on the ES. From the short side on the ES, we've got 75.14 to the 74.99. Now, I'm going to give you guys another nuance. If you guys are trading props on the ES, while these are phenomenal trades, these weekly band trades might take you the entire day. Okay, they could take you the entire day. I would prefer trading the daily bands on the ES. These will finish much quicker and much less drawdown. These are about 4 points of drawdown here, so not much. So again, live account, how I trade, I'm taking the weekly band and I'm taking the daily. On prop, I would say stick to the daily bands that are right here. These are going to work out really well for you. 1 to, you probably go 1 to 2 on these, to be honest with you, with no problem. So again, the entry on this one would be sitting at the 75.04, and stop loss would be at the 75.09 and a tick. Same thing with this band. I would concentrate on the 75.41 to the 75.37. Limit order right here. Stop loss sitting 2 or 3 points. I'm sorry, sitting 1 to 1.5 points above, and 1 to 2 risk to reward. And again, people like the visuals. We'll give you the visuals. It's probably sitting right around there. Yep, that's 1 point. And 1 to 2 risk to reward. It's exactly how these setups here would look like on the ES and on the NQ. And you can see already how, now this one missed our band. Again, if you're part of the signal service group, you guys already understand all of these concepts. We do continue trading on until about 11 a.m., so about 3 hours into the morning. You already understand the concepts of the tap that does not hit our entry and goes to our take profit. That already invalidates our entry here because the move already happened. Okay, people, I mean, my entry is at the 27,843.50. This move happened at the 27,843.75, a tick above. Okay, but this already created the setup that I was looking for. Right here was the entry, would have been the entry. Right here would have been the take profit. We already took out take profit. We missed our entry by a tick, and that's going to happen. When this happens to you, when you miss it by a tick and it goes, or a point, and it misses and it hits your TP, guys, exit out of that trade. Do not leave your resting limit order there. You're going to get burned on these trades because the next time the market comes down, all you've done is you've recreated liquidity down here, and now this becomes an easy area for stops to get run and get some violent price action that will sweep out your stop loss. Okay, so this happened. I consider this trade to have already occurred. It didn't tap us. It would not have tapped us into the limit order here, but it already took out TP. So that for me, no good. Would not take it. But you guys can see where these things are reacting from. This was a perfect reaction off of the band. Took out your TP exactly to almost to the tick, to the point. Now you had a detailed area down here. You know, and again, this is why I say one limit order here, another limit order here. You average your position out here. Now you're in for 2 contracts, and you're looking at a 1 to 1.7, 1 to 1.5. And the only reason why this was less than my normal 1 to 1.5 was because point of control was sitting right here. So I said, if you have a piece of confluence that's sitting between your projected take profit, whatever your risk reward you're coming in with, if you've got a level, whatever you want to use, VWAP, the previous high, the low, another piece of unbalanced volume. In this case, I'm using the point of control. I said this would be your most worthy spot of having this TP right at the point of control. So that's why we lowered this risk down to 1.25 instead of the 1.5 that would have been somewhere sitting right above here. All right, guys, that's all I got for you this morning. Again, if you want to continue trading on with us, we are in the live trading room in the Signal group. Less than a second lag of delay on there. You can go to robstrades.com to sign up for that. And if you're going to be using any prop firms, I do ask you use code TraderRob. I appreciate everything. Hopefully I've given you guys here enough good setups to stay profitable today.